All right, welcome to this meeting of the Personnel Administration Committee for Monroe County Government. Today is Wednesday, May 18th, and we're here in the council conference room. Thank you for joining us on Zoom. We've got a nice agenda today, and so I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. The first item on our agenda is the Surveyor's Office. Mr. Tron Enright Randolph is here to help us in a discussion regarding salary for professional surveyors. It's a 35 hours exempt position. So Mr. Enright Randolph, you want to go ahead and lead us off and tell us why you're here?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just kind of basically read the summary that we provided with the PAC request. So in 2016, we came to PAC and suggested creating a professional surveyor position because at that time we had a professional surveyor serving as the chief deputy, and it was tethered to the 75% at that point. So this was a good solution, and honestly, I really like having jobs tied to a job description. It kind of gives some recourse, serving elected officers. So with that said, PAC moved it forward to WISC. WISC sent back the recommendation and council approved the position. There was a salary range. We kind of settled on amount. I think that was comfortable with the council, especially since it was a new position. I think, being conservative and cautious is a great approach. Through that, we were able to keep the PS on the job until they opened their own practice. They always intended to open their own practice at a certain point, so I knew I wasn't ever going to have them on board forever. At that time, the pandemic occurred, and it kind of made a few difficulties with hiring a new position, and the pay I just at that time was kind of not really enticing for people to leave the private sector. So through that and other factors with kind of restructuring some positions and kind of growing the office with the survey technician position, we're finally to a good point to come back here to PAC to discuss what it might take to entice a professional surveyor to come back to the county. And so through the comprehensive review, through the WISC, the PS was kind of left outside of some of the review that could be just overlooked, or the fact that, the position was somewhat fairly new. I've brought it to council's attention and others that, we'll have to probably figure out how to increase the salary to entice a PS. So the goal here is just to have the job description sent to WISC to evaluate the salary. And then as that comes back, my hopes is it's in line with kind of some more of the private sector jobs where maybe we can entice a professional surveyor to come back to the county. That's basically all that through there, through the summary of the request. I will throw one additional element in there. And in 2016, when we were first doing this, we really put a comprehensive review together of kind of, what the job would entail, what the pay is out there and everything. And from surveyor license registration numbers, you can kind of tell where they are in their profession. So there's a slew of them coming to retirement. There's not too many new up and coming surveyors. So, the pools are kind of limited. And this is kind of a stat we brought is in 2016 in the state of Indiana, there was 12,855 registered professional engineers, and there was only 879 professional surveyors. So there's a big disparity between the two. So I just want to make that distinction. And that's it. I'm here for any additional questions.
I would like to just throw in that I reached out to WIS to find out why it was not included in the overall reclassification. Well, it didn't get signed by the surveyor or an individual.
Oh,
so and so they just assumed we were no longer using it. So that's why it was not included. So that was just a mistake. I didn't catch it, Tron didn't catch it. So, but, that was why it was not included or evaluated as an SO position when we got all the paperwork. So it was never done.
And that makes a lot of sense because during the budget process, I've asked council to kind of leave that there so we can come back and discuss kind of the salary. So, yeah. Yep. Tough. You still make my job a lot easier, Kim.
Councilmember Kim, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't. I support the request. I'm somewhat familiar with not as familiar as Tron, but somewhat familiar with the marketplace for professional surveyors, and I know that's a tough position to fill. And I think having some unbiased information on what a reasonable salary range would be in Indiana is worth pursuing.
And I agree. I think this is a really worthy endeavor, and the job market is really tough right now, and it's even more so for these specialized degrees. So yeah, let's get this unbiased review, and let's get moving on this.
I think Councilor Hawk is on. Oh, great.
Councilmember Hawk, do you have any comments or questions for this request from the surveyor's office?
No, I'm just hoping this is the last one that we've missed. I think if I'm to vote, you have to see my picture, so I don't know why it's not. Oh wait, maybe it's this.
Oh,
yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, I'm just hoping that somebody will send out a message to all the department heads and say, I think you've done this several times, council office, but nevertheless, as a reminder to people to look at information they're being sent to make sure that we are all up to date.
So
I'm not with you, Kim, because I know you've done this many times.
Yes, I have. And I've reached out to the department several times on, check and make sure that, employees sign them. So we just asked all the departments to have every employee sign their job descriptions. And that was the only one that came back saying, it wasn't, correct. So.
Right. I mean,
yeah.
It's important because we need to have not only that the department head sign it, but each employee needs to sign it. And I hope that is happening. I know that was supposed to be happening.
Yes, that the supervisor's signature is included on the job descriptions.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Kim.
Yeah, I don't want to muddy the water on Tron's request, but just on this issue of overall position, my understanding is that there's still something pending with the building commission. Is that?
Yes, they did a complete overhaul of all of their job descriptions due to the reassignment of duties and a new building commissioner. So he felt like that those needed to be totally redone. The council approved for them to move forward with that. They have been sent to WIS. We're just
they have been sent.
Yeah,
okay.
We just, because you guys approved it already to go ahead, get it done, send it on to WIS as a council. And so those have been done. I'm just waiting for them to do them. But it took we didn't finish up the edit parts until the end of April.
I know he was just kind of growing into the position.
Yes. Yeah. So they're at WIS and we're just waiting for that. So, and with, I think it was 6 or 7 positions, because they did the entire department. It will probably take them at least a month or more to do those.
Yeah.
So.
I know one of the things that he had wanted to do was to kind of eliminate the college degree requirement when it wasn't really necessary to do the job.
Yeah. And he worked with Angie with that, and he also, reached out to other Indiana commissioners, and I think he did a really good job on, eliminating, but not or revamping the requirements with regards to education. So I think it'll fulfill his needs really well.
Councilmember Hawk, it looks like you have something to say.
Right. Well, just when we're discussing some of the other positions and things we need to look at, I think we need to look very hard, immediately at our law enforcement and our jail staff and to see what, if anything, PAC needs to be doing to adjust those salaries to meet present competition, because clearly what we've looked at in the past is not going to get the job done for right now today. And so is there anything that PAC needs to do to facilitate that moving forward ASAP?
With regards,
Is that a legal question?
I mean, I don't see it as a PAC. It's really more, it's a salary issue.
yeah.
So
I mean,
no
the city is
staff,
paying $1,000 signing bonuses, right, for
I mean-
police officers.
That's
so
right.
I guess I was throwing it out there, like if we were going to look to see what other elected officials were making, we certainly ought to be seeing what law enforcement is making. To me, that's more important, but just wanted to, that's the reason why I thought there might be some nexus there.
And
Okay.
to that point, Councilmember Wiltz has started and been working very closely with council office to look at that and have that analysis. And
But my scope is for elected officials only.
right.
So,
Right.
and that's what the survey did and went out. It did not include anything with regards to merit deputies or corrections officers.
So it does kind of sound like we need to look at, well, I mean, has the sheriff been seeing, I know the Commander Crow from the jail mentioned a large number of vacancies. Are we seeing the same for the merit deputies?
I just sent a request out to the entire council just this morning. They're requesting to fill 2 positions. But that's the first ones that I've seen from the sheriff's department in a while.
The sheriff or the jail?
Sheriff. I just sent it this morning.
Yeah, myself.
Well, I mean, we're going to be seeing more of those since others are making sure that we do. We just have to be prepared. But if that's not a PAC, I don't want to be discussing something we're not supposed to be at PAC. I'm just.
Right. And we've got
Yeah.
Mr. Enright Randolph here, so let's get back to this.
Right.
And this is
I've
listed
got
on.
about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
I was just going to make a motion.
Please do.
I move we approve the surveyor's request to send the professional surveyor position to WIS for salary recommendations.
I need a
Second. All right, any discussion on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, we need to do a voice or a roll call vote because
Roll call
of someone's on Zoom.
Counselor McKim,
Yes.
Counselor Hawk,
Yes.
Counselor Iverson.
Yes,
Motion passed unanimous.
congratulations.
Awesome.
We'll get
Thank
that
you.
sent out and then we'll, I'm sure, have many more conversations about finding the right fit.
I think my approach just will be to come to a work session prior to actually trying to ask council to make a final decision so we can kind of sort things out. And if there's anything else that council would like to see, I can prepare for that for the regular session. So that's my strategy. I'll work with Kim, make sure that, and my liaison to make sure that that seems
I will
fair.
forward this on to WIS and ask them to reevaluate with a salary compensation review. And then I'm not sure how long it'll take. So as soon as we get it back, my question to PAC is, do you want, since this is a salary compensation and there's no changes to the job description itself, do you want it to come back to PAC or would you like for it to go to council for
No.
review?
I think the surveyor would bring it to the council if he wants a change in salary.
That was my thought as well.
All right. Okay, so when we connect, then
Perfect.
we'll work together.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I actually generally like that discussion. So.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, the next item on our agenda is regarding a part-time administrative assistant here in the council office. And Kim Schell, you're going to be walking us through this discussion.
Yes, we currently have a person in place, but we didn't really have a job description. And so I know that we want to have part-time job descriptions in place. So what I took was the council administrative assistant position, which we currently have full-time, and I tweaked it and edited it to reflect the job duties that the new part-time person will be doing. So all I'm asking is, this has been reviewed by Counselor Wiltz, Deckard and Munson. And so they've put their input into this. This is the final version. And all I'm asking is if it's okay, just to send it to WIS so that they have it on file. And if you have seen anything that you believe needs to be tweaked or edited before that.
Comments or questions from PAC? Councilmember Hawk.
Yes, that's a reminder. And I know we don't like to use names, but just so I can follow the position. This is the one that Margaret Hollers was doing. She was just in there doing minutes. Yes, no. You're saying no?
This is in addition. Margaret is still doing the minutes and everything. We have another part-time person who will be assisting me personally with regards to budgets and other tasks that the auditor's counselor person is no longer able to complete.
Okay, so the reason why I question that is that since this is going to be under the auditor, I think we should have the auditor's recommendation.
This is under the council.
Let me ask you, what budget would this not then be under the auditor's budget? And so therefore we should be asking that person as a department head? I'm just trying to follow the numbers.
It's under the council's budget. The council approved an additional amount for a part-time person for this year out of the council's budget. This is not a auditor employee, it is a council employee.
I get it, but what you're saying is, or maybe I misunderstood it, that it was in effect sort of picking up what the council's employee, the auditor's employee who will be leaving for her pregnancy leave and so forth. We need somebody to pick up her duties to assist.
What the auditor has stated is that she wants the auditor's person, which is Megan, and we'll just use the name so we can keep it clear. She is only for the council to do agendas and minutes, packets, and that kind of duties, which is in line with what the duties
The
for
statutory
the
requirements.
statutory requirements. Anything above and beyond that will be completed because that is something that council requests. So things like food and beverage, Sophia Travis, assisting me with working on the budgets, that kind of thing, will fall under the new part-time person. It is not a required duties of the auditor's person.
So who did that last year? I'm really kind of, are we adding a whole new position? That's what it sounds like.
We're adding a new part-time person.
Permanent part-time.
Part-time.
Yes, a new part-time person.
But I'm saying permanent part-time.
Yes, this is the person
We
you
met
guys
the other
met
day.
the other night.
This was our regular session.
I can't remember, Marty, what was your question?
Was it a permanent, do we intend this to be a permanent part-time or is this just temporary?
The intent is permanent part-time.
Okay, so will this person then start doing the minutes as well?
No. No.
So, well, I mean, I have no objection to figuring out what her duties are, but I do think that we have to be very cautious about adding personnel. That
Megan will continue to take care of the summary minutes, which that's what council votes and signs off on. Margaret takes care of and does the verbatim minutes, which has been requested, and she is continuing doing the verbatim minutes. This person.
Transcription.
Yeah. Transcription. So it's not minutes, it's transcription. So Margaret's taking care, and that's all Margaret's job description states, is that she does the transcription of those minutes. And that's all she does.
And is that budgeted, and that's budgeted under council, so is the council's responsibility then, because we've been asking for it. And then Well, I mean, I guess the other questions I have is really more budgetary, so.
And this part-time position is also budgeted under the council.
And you already have the appropriation. You're just
Yes.
wanting to send this copy of the
Yes,
job description to WIS for them to keep on file.
correct.
Right, right. We'll talk about the rest of it another time. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we were asking the right department head for their input.
Do we need a
And-
motion for you to send this to WIS? Or do you need us to simply say Godspeed?
That works too.
All right.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. It's just, it's not going to be reviewed or classified kind of thing. It's just on file so that we have a job description on file.
I think we want everything on file with them.
Mhm.
And I appreciate that other council members have read through this, given their input, and you're bringing it here to PAC. It's a lot of transparency. That's wonderful. All right.
The only thing I have is for the minutes, so I need,
Okay. And that's the next item on our agenda is approval of the summary minutes as presented. These minutes are for March 7th, 2022. Any changes or amendments to these minutes?
Move approval.
I'll second that. Any discussion on the minutes? Let's do a voice vote since we've got someone on Zoom.
Council Iverson,
Yes.
Councilor Hawk,
Yes,
Councilor McKim.
Yes.
Motion passed 3-0.
All right, next we move on to PAC member comments. Any comments from PAC?
do we have do we have the next date for the next PAC meeting? Could you give that to me?
Wonderful question.
Yep, it is June, I want to say June the 7th.
June 7th. Okay, because I'll
That's a
be
Tuesday.
out. I'll be out through the mid-June through part of July and out. So.
Well,
be
we
able to
have,
do this one.
a meeting scheduled for June the 7th and July the 5th.
5th?
5.
Yeah, well, I won't be at that one, I'm sure. I'll have a house full by then. Yay me, I get to be mommy.
I'm fine showing up in person, so.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we'll have quorum in person. All right, I want to make a real quick comment. I've been working with E here to look at some of the demographics of the different the staff here at the county, especially given that we've been through some diversity trainings and equity trainings, and we've been looking at some of the diversity that is within the 855 staff members here at Monroe County. And I just wanted to present some of that data. I'm not going to do a deep dive into this, but just to say that in terms of race, 97% of Monroe County staff are self-identify as white or identify as whites. 1% identify as Black. 1% identify as Hispanic. 0.5% or 0.5% identify as Asian. 0.1% identify as American Indian or Alaskan Native. 0.4% identify as multiracial, and 0.0% identify as Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander. Obviously, this indicates that we have some work to do, I think, as a county, given the fact that census data has higher numbers of these different racial populations in our county. And I think it'd be incumbent on us to try and strive to make sure that our county looks like the community in which we reside. So I just want to present some of those numbers and just for kind of an FYI for everyone. Anything else?
Are you going to email those numbers out to the
I can, yeah.
to the whole council?
I can do that. Yep.
And what does that have to do with PAC?
So what I wanted to do was to say that in a lot of the diversity, equity, and inclusion trainings that the council has been involved in, we've been talking about how important representation is in terms of our personnel and in terms of our personnel, the way that we are doing the different jobs that exist. And so I thought this would be an opportune time to bring some of this data in as a PAC comment and not necessarily on the agenda.
Right, because I hope that we'll always concentrate on getting really the best qualified person for each individual jobs, and we will not be discriminating against one race or the other. Having that we just always make sure that we provide the very best service that we can to the public.
It goes to outreach and recruitment, I think.
Yeah, and we just want to make sure that we're doing that.
I am very proud to be an American Indian, a Native American. That's what I am. But I'm not sure that anybody else knows it. Do I need to wear a mask or something to say what I am? But I hope that if I serve, it's because I'm what the people believe is someone that they would vote for, just as you folks are. And then when we represent them, and hiring of people, I would hope our department heads and others will hire the very, very best, and that people of all races will be considered to provide that service.
Absolutely. Well, I think we're all in agreement on that. And given that, I think we've reached adjournment. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.